and they lay it all on the line in the NCAA tournament. It just doesn't get better than that, man. The Buddy Hills of the world. This goes out to y'all. Salute. Number 3.
My number 3 reason that we as red-blooded Americans love March Madness. You had it as your number 5 reason. It's my number 3 reason. The Cinderella story. The bracket buster. The teams who you don't know about before the tournament starts, they actually make it to like the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. You know, teams like Dayton. You know, Dayton will make it to the Sweet 16. Teams like Iowa State, who, you know who Iowa State is, but you don't think they're going to make it to the Elite 8. They'll mess around and make it to the Elite 8. You got teams like the Cardiac Pack of NC State back in 83. They won the national championship, man. They beat Phi Slamma Jamma. I'm talking about Hakeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler. Yeah, that Phi Slamma Jamma. The Cinderella story, man, I love it.
Number 3, I'm going to the announcers, man. I'm going to, the Gus Johnsons of the world. Who can forget that call that he had?
11 to go. Holloway kicks it out. Crawford 8. Crawford's got to hurry. Oh, no. He tied it. Clemente fires. And we're heading to double overtime.
It just seemed like he was sitting on the couch beside you watching the game at some of the, the sounds and reactions he had to some of the baskets made and things like that. And then you have to tip your cap to Jim Nance, who every year he has to come up with those sayings.
Not going to try. It's Hayward pulling it down, getting around Zubac at midcourt, launches the shot. Almost went in, and Duke is the king of the dance, 2010.
You got to go with the announcers in this situation. They're just like us, and they know that anything can happen, and when it does happen, they let us know.
Pierre, this top 5 is, man, it's off the Beelzebub, as Nori would say, man. It's going down in a major way. I'm really feeling this top 5 right now.
Number 2.
It's got to be filling out the brackets, man. Filling out brackets at work or at school or wherever you have your bracket, to be filled out at, that's got to be the best, man. Like, because we know we can do as much research as we want. We can think we know about the teams, but we all know that bracket isn't going to be right. You're going to end up filling out about 10 different brackets.
I always put NC State in the Elite 8 at the bare minimum.
Of course.
Bare minimum Elite 8.
If NC State is in the tournament, they're in my Final Four. I mean, and they almost make it. And I rationalize in my head like, okay, they can beat this team. All we have to do is hit shots against this team, and we can make it this far. You're never going to get your bracket right. It's never going to be right, because teams who you expect to win, they inevitably lose. Teams who you think have no chance of winning, they win. Brackets are always busted. That's why I love March Madness.
My number 2 reason is the fact that America gets a chance to view some of the biggest stars in the making that you've never heard of. Steph Curry is a product of the NCAA tournament. Steph Curry was a phenomenal collegiate basketball player. I can remember being in school at Appalachian State and seeing him come up every year and play in the Convocation Center and just light us up year in and year out. And I was like, man, this guy's a really good player. But America didn't know about Steph Curry until he went on that magical run to the Elite 8 his junior year in college. It goes back to guys like Khalid El-Amin, who made his bones in the NCAA tournament. Kemba Walker made his bones from the Big East tournament and then the NCAA tournament.
You know who else made their bones, right? One of the illest names, Shabazz Napier.
Once they get into that tournament and all eyes on them, they shine the brightest. Those are the guys that I'm claiming as my number 2 spot in why Americans love March Madness. Number 1.
We all know what it is. I think my number 1 is the same as your number 1. Why we as red-blooded Americans love March Madness. I think we can say it together.
Luther Vandross in one
shining moment.
It has to be Luther Vandross, though.
It's got to be. There's no other person. I don't know who else did that, but Luther Vandross. I don't care if he's dead. That song will live on forever. Luther Vandross, One Shining Moment. That is the number one reason why Americans love March Madness. Probably about 15 to 20 minutes after the final horn on the national championship game, CBS compiles all the highlights from the beginning of the tournament to the end, all the highs and the lows, all the anguish, the heartache, the jubilation. And they compile that into a highlight reel with the incomparable Luther Vandross singing One Shining Moment. Man, that's been the number one reason why I love March Madness, since I can remember.
And we're NC State fans, but if you're a fan of a team like NC State, a team that's probably, never gonna win a national championship, never gonna make that deep run. Let's just face reality.
Don't
here.
say never.
No, I've been hoping for it for years. I'm 29 years old and I've yet to see us even win any type of championship. But I digress. If you're a fan of a team like that, you look forward to One Shining Moment because it is the best time for you. It's the time that you don't have to worry about hearing Duke fans talk about how well they doing. You don't have to hear about Carolina fans talking about making another run. You don't have to hear about teams like Miami who usually aren't good but they made a run. Why come NC State can't make a run? You don't hear about nobody like, Pepe, Sanchez, and Temple. I had to take you back with that one. Everybody makes a run except for NC State. I don't understand why.
I thought this was the top 5 reasons why we love March, not the top 5 reasons why NC State is not going to win a championship, man. I thought you was an NC State fan.
I am. Frustration is starting to set in. It's tough. It's been a tough year for me as a sports fan. Kobe, of course, bowing out and not looking his best. NC State doing what they do on a consistent basis. It's tough, man. 49ers nowhere near being good.
Yeah, it's a tough sports year for our teams.
Yeah, I don't know what to say, man. Red Sox awful.
Yeah, Baltimore Orioles came up short. We were in the hunt in the AL East, for most of the year, but came up short as the season wound down. Like you said, 49ers.
Hurricanes and traded Eric Stahl. How do you trade Eric Stahl?
Bruh, for real? Trading Eric Stahl is the equivalent of not using baby wipes when you take a deuce. It's just uncivilized. Hey man, this has been our top 5 reasons why we as red-blooded Americans love March Madness. Pierre, we're going to take a commercial break. Listeners, come on back. Join us for our final segment, Bruh For Real, on the All Things Sport podcast on what? Spreaker Radio.
Join us every Friday for the All Things Sport podcast with Daimeon Banks and Pierre Banks on Spreaker Radio.
Hi, this is Daimeon Banks. Thank you for listening to the All Things Sport podcast. You can also catch me on the Puff TV Morning Combo on Blog Talk Radio every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Call 347-677-0956 and I'll give you Sports by Daimeon.
The All Things Sport podcast.
We go back like spinal cords and car seats.
With Daimeon Banks and Pierre Banks on Spreaker Radio.
Welcome back to the All Things Sport podcast. I'm Daimeon Banks alongside Pierre Banks, two of the best podcasters who ever breathed life into podcasting. Gonna end the show off with an oldie, but most certainly a goodie. Bruh, for real? And on our Bruh For Real today, I'm gonna get it started, Pierre, because when I saw this, flash across the screen on my handy iPhone, I had to do a double take. I was like, is that right? That can't be right. So my Bruh For Real is to Rick Smith, general manager, and the entire Houston Texans organization. The Houston Texans signed Brock Osweiler, formerly of the Denver Broncos, to a 4-year, $72 million contract.
Bruh, for real?
This is the Brock Osweiler who has only started 7 games in the NFL. Drafted in the second round by the Broncos in 2012, he has sat behind Peyton Manning for the last several years. Now, Peyton Manning most recently retired, after Super Bowl 50. So it was, thought that Brock Osweiler would be, no-brainer. He's going to start, but he wasn't under contract. The Broncos, they exercised some fiscal restraint. They didn't want to sign Osweiler to a huge contract. So Houston was like, okay, I will give him the money. 4 years, $72 million.
Bruh, for real?
Are you serious? This guy started 7 games, man. I understand that you need a quarterback. You had to watch Brian Hoyer stink up the joint like baby Pampers in the wild card round of the playoffs.
Cannot win with him.
But $72 million?
Bruh, for real?
The guy started 7 games. So you're giving him $10 million for every game he started in the NFL. That's why I can't even, I don't know, man. What's the proper word? It's not respect. I can't even take you seriously as an organization, man, if you're going to give a quarterback who started 7 games $72 million. Rick Smith, you do know that you're putting your job on the line, right? By giving Brock Osweiler this huge contract. If he does not produce, you'll be looking for a job. You'll be joining us in the world of podcasting if he doesn't produce, man.
Bruh, for real?
I mean, bruh, for real. $72 million? Now, again, I understand you had Brian Hoyer playing quarterback. So I'd look better than Brian Hoyer playing quarterback.
Bruh, for real?
$72 million? You couldn't give him $30 million? Like, I wouldn't even give him $30 million. But $72? Bruh, for real? He has not even started a half a season. Have you learned nothing from Matt Flynn? But wait, when, DeAndre Hopkins comes up for contract, they're going to try to nickel and dime him.
Bruh, for real?
I'm not going to get into it. I'm done. I don't even think they're going to win the AFC South next year.
Bruh, for real?
Now, Daimeon, I don't know if that's a nice thing to give the Houston Texans a bruh for real for my man, Brock Osweiler. Brock Osweiler did a heck of a job for the Broncos last year. The Broncos, being they, got more production out of their offense with Brock Osweiler on the field than Peyton Manning. Osweiler on the field, their offense went for 386 a game. With Peyton Manning on the field, it only went for like 301. So I think he is not a Matt Flynn to where he only started 2 games and you don't know what you're going to get from him. You know that you're going to get a pretty good quarterback out of Osweiler. And just to shore up that side of the ball, the most important position on that side of the ball, I think was worth every penny that the Houston Texans threw at Brock Osweiler, because they knew that if they had a different quarterback on the field that Saturday against the Kansas City Chiefs, it'd have been a different story. It could have been a different story the weeks after that and all the weeks before that in the regular season. So I think it's a good move for Houston, and then getting in Lamar Miller is only going to help the cause. Again, with Strong and Hopkins out there, Houston is going to be the team to beat in the AFC South, maybe even AFC next year.
Quick question. Are you going to do your bruh for real, or are you going to scrutinize mine?
Bruh, for real?
That's the only thing I want to know. That's the only thing I want to know. Like, when are you going to get to yours? Because I did mine. Let me shine. You know what I mean? Let me be great.
My bruh for real, I'm going to keep it real short and sweet. Staying in NFL, staying with the quarterback position, but I'm looking at the Philadelphia Eagles.
Bruh, for real?
Philly, what were you thinking? First and foremost, you signed Sam Bradford, as often injured as he is,
Cannot play with him.
to a 2-year deal worth more than $36 million.
Bruh, for real?
Why would you ever give that type of money to Sam Bradford? He hadn't even played a full season for you all, let alone anybody else in the league. So it boggles my mind how you can do that. Then you follow that up in the first day of free agency by signing Chase Daniel as a backup from the Chiefs. But you give Chase Daniel $21 million, 12 of that guaranteed.
Bruh, for real?
What are you thinking right now? If you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, I can see